Welcome to Assistive Technology Decision Making, Legal Requirements and Team Responsibilities. This presentation is a part of a series designed to give you an overview of the AT decision-making process. There are a number of elements involved in making AT decisions. In this presentation, we're actually going to start before the first element listed here by laying the foundation for this process, which is in the law and team responsibilities. The source for this information and the related research behind it are known as the Quality Indicators for Assistive Technology. The quality indicators are available at qiat.org. There, you will find documents and resources about providing AT services, as well as sign up for their listserv, upon which people post and respond to questions, post product information, and share successes and challenges. The quality indicators were developed for several reasons. The authors found that providing quality AT services was made difficult by three factors. 1. The complexity of issues and processes related to assistive technology. In other words, the sheer diversity of disabilities in our populations and the rapidly changing sophistication, cost, and availability of technology made selecting technology for use by students a major challenge. 2. The large numbers of diverse individuals involved in the processes. According to an article written by Dave Eddy Byrne in 2000, he states that until IDEA 1997 was enacted, assistive technology had largely been considered for students with communication, physical, and sensory disabilities. The passage of IDEA 1997 expanded the pool of students for whom IEP teams had to consider assistive technology and added 3.8 million students with high incidence disabilities, ages 6 through 21, to the AT caseload. And 3, a lack of a unifying set of guidelines to aid members of IEP teams and school districts in the development, provision, selection, and evaluation of assistive technology services. We were required by law to consider assistive technology for all students with disabilities, regardless of severity, but no one knew what that was supposed to look like. There is a gap in between what federal law required and what schools were consistently, equitably able to provide to their students. In an effort to provide some of those unifying guidelines that were missing, the quality indicators for assistive technology were formed. Before we can go much further, we need to stop and take a look at what the law requires of us as AT team members and what is required of local IEP teams. Assistive technology devices. This definition has not changed from IDEA 2000. Assistive technology device means any item, piece of equipment, or product system, whether acquired commercially or off the shelf, modified or customized, that's used to increase, maintain, or improve the functional capabilities of a child with a disability. This doesn't include medical devices that are surgically implanted, such as cochlear implants, feeding tubes, or baclofen pumps, or their replacement. This includes any external components as well. The school must provide related services that the IEP team determines necessary for a free and appropriate public education, monitor and maintain medical devices that are needed to maintain the health and safety of the child at school or being transported to and from school, and the routine checking of the device to ensure proper functioning of that device. If it needs fine-tuning or repair, the school is not responsible for those services. Districts also must ensure that hearing aids are functioning properly. In other words, an assistive technology device is a piece of equipment that helps a student increase, improve, or maintain functioning. The definition of assistive technology services has also not changed since IDEA 2000. An assistive technology service means any service that directly assists a child with a disability in the selection, acquisition, or use of an assistive technology device and includes evaluation. Evaluation of the needs of the child, including a functional evaluation of the child in his or her customary environment. This is very important and sets up a very different model from other AT service delivery models. Purchasing, leasing, or otherwise providing for the acquisition of assistive technology devices by such child. Selecting, designing, fitting, customizing, adapting, applying, maintaining, repairing, or replacing assistive technology devices, coordinating and using other therapies, interventions, or services with assistive technology devices, such as those associated with existing education and rehabilitation plans or programs. This is implementation and is required by law. The provision of the device is not sufficient. It also must be implemented. And training. Training or technical assistance for this child, or where appropriate, the family member of this child. This also includes training or technical assistance for professionals, including individuals providing education and/or rehabilitation services, employers or other individuals who provide services to, employ, or are otherwise substantially involved in the major life functions of the child. This might mean providing training in the use of the device for the staff of a group home or staff at a student's job site. In other words, an assistive technology service is any service that assists a student in the selection, acquisition, and use of an assistive technology device. When does technology become assistive technology? Tech becomes assistive technology when it's used to help a student complete their academic tasks that they cannot currently complete due to their disability. Technology becomes assistive technology when it assists a student in increasing, improving, or maintaining some area of functioning. And technology becomes assistive technology when it is documented in the IEP as assistive technology. It is a fine semantic and legal line. For example, a student without a disability who uses a pencil grip for writing tasks as a preference is just accessing a tool as a general classroom technology. For a student with a disability in the area of writing who cannot complete writing tasks without that pencil grip, it becomes assistive technology and would be documented in the student's IEP as such. So which one of these tools is assistive technology? The grand answer is, it depends. IEPs must include, among other items, a statement of the special education and related services and supplementary aids and services, based on peer-reviewed research where practicable, to be provided to the child on or behalf of the child. In other words, assistive technology could be listed in the goals and objectives of the student. They could also be listed under related services. Please note that if placed here, you may be required to document minutes per week that the student will be receiving these services. AT could also be listed under supplementary aids and services. It may be especially important to list AT in this area if you have a student who would use this AT on a state-level assessment. Many states require that assistive technology devices are listed in this section of a student's IEP in order to be considered for approved use on a state-level assessment. Whenever possible, we need to have peer-reviewed research backing up our AT decisions. This is not an easy task, as this is an admittedly weak area of assistive technology. You will be more apt to find research in areas like word prediction and text-to-speech than you will in areas like partner-assisted scanning or speech recognition. The reason for lack of peer-reviewed research are numerous. One, these technologies are relatively new, which hasn't allowed for time to set up studies and collect data. Two, student learners are incredibly diverse, which doesn't allow a blanket application of a single technology that would work for all of them in the same way. Three, withholding potentially beneficial technology, like you would in a control group required for a true research project, that would allow students to make academic and functional progress, would be unethical. Hence, very few of these have been done. You may be able to find single subject research or case studies that have been published. Going into a meeting with those is still preferable to having nothing upon which to base your AT decisions. Other factors that you'll need to consider as an AT team are home use, whether the device will go home with the child. This is an individual decision made by the AT team. There may be compelling arguments to be made for and against sending the device home. Surgically implanted devices. The care of surgically implanted devices, like the cochlear implant pictured here. Schools are not required to provide surgically implanted devices nor maintain them. However, they are required to monitor their correct functioning and let families know if there appear to be issues with the device. So who is responsible for upholding the law and making AT? According to Zabala 2004, while multidisciplinary specialists in areas related to assistive technology may make recommendations to the IEP team, the actual consideration of a student's possible need for assistive technology and decisions related to assistive technology falls to members of the IEP team, as do all other decisions related to the development and provision of a free and appropriate public education for that student. Comments to the federal regulations in this area indicate that, quote, this would include any assistive technology devices and services determined by the IEP team to be needed by the child in order for the child to receive a free and appropriate public education. This is such a critical area for successful consideration of AT that there is a quality indicator dedicated to it. And I quote, assistive technology assessments are conducted by a team with the collective knowledge and skills needed to determine possible assistive technology solutions that address the needs and abilities of the student, demands of the customary environments, educational goals, and related activities. Do your team members have these characteristics? If not, where can they be acquired? There is a huge professional learning opportunity here. If your team members do not have these skills, can you pull in other team members who do? Often, an individual is given the responsibility for being the AT team and having to conduct assessments and make decisions outside their area of expertise, or individuals on the team don't seek additional help to conduct an AT assessment. So who should be on your team? If you have a request for a computer access assessment, you might want to have an OT on that team. It might not be as necessary to have a speech-language pathologist on that particular case. If you have a request for an AAC assessment, you probably want to have your SLP on that team. Depending on your access issues, you may also want an OT. If it involves mounting a potential system to a wheelchair, you might also want the expertise of a physical therapist. Whoever your team members are, I strongly encourage you to make the student and their parents welcome as an integral part of the team. This isn't always possible, but keeping communication flowing and being a part of the decision-making process is vital to the student's long-term success with the tool. If you have any questions or comments about any of the information presented in this presentation, please contact UCP Seguin Infinitec at 708-444-8460 or 1-800-361-0270. Thank you.